Hey everyone, Andy here from Luminary Wealth. So, when it comes to planning for the unexpected, particularly the unexpected passing of a spouse, the things that we most often talk about are things like wills, healthcare directives, power of attorneys, life insurance policies, etc. And these are all very important and necessary. The one thing that is talked about less often is next steps for the surviving spouse, especially in a situation where the spouse that passed away was the one who primarily managed the finances. So in 2018, there was a survey done, and 75% of men said that they were either primarily responsible for the finances or took the lead with the spouse's input. I think it was like 36% for women. But the point is that there's a large percentage of couples where only one spouse is primarily responsible for managing the finances. In the unfortunate event that a spouse passes away, the surviving spouse should know where and how to access these important financial and legal documents because they're definitely going to need those. And the last thing that a surviving spouse needs is tracking down estate documents and passwords during an already devastating time. And while we hope that we all never encounter this situation, here are a few steps you can take with your spouse today to be as prepared as possible. Number one, gather all financial and legal documents and be as detailed as possible with this. So, not just wills, power of attorneys, healthcare directives, obviously those, but also things like mortgage statements, tax returns, bank statements, insurance policies, and not just life insurance, but home and auto, where to pay your utility bills, contact information for your CPA, advisor, attorney, basically anything that your spouse would need to take over the finances, compile it. Once you've compiled everything, make electronic copies. So while most stuff you can receive digitally now, there may be things where you only have a physical copy of that. So make sure you store electronically as well as physically. For those documents that you're storing physically, I would invest in like a waterproof and a fireproof case. You can get these on Amazon and Costco for a reasonable price. Definitely worth the investment. And then for those that you're storing electronically, make sure you're storing somewhere that your spouse can access, even if something happened to your computer. So whether it be on the cloud and you provide your computer password to your spouse, or if you use an online service like Everplans or LifeSite. These are services that were made specifically for situations like this. Those are options as well. And then it's important to look into a password manager. So not only are documents important to access, but your spouse, should you pass away, is going to need to access your utilities and mortgage and bank account information. So make sure that they have login info for that. The nice thing about a password manager is that they only need to remember the password to the password manager, and then they have access to all the sites. That can be a huge time saver as well. And then I think it's important to review this on a regular basis. So at least once a year, sit down with your spouse and ask the question, if I were to pass away tomorrow, would you know what the next steps would be to take over the finances? Review the passwords, review all the information is stored, and keep it updated. So as you get new insurance policies, make sure that that's being updated on a regular basis. Passwords are being updated. And while you hope that you never have to encounter this situation, it can definitely reduce the stress of the surviving spouse if all the preparations are in order. I actually put together a surviving spouse checklist that goes through a lot of the things that I talked about here. So I'll post that below. Check that out. Feel free to use it, modify it, share it. Hopefully you find it informative and helpful. Have a great week.